Are you ready to laugh? I said, are you ready to laugh?
Be quiet, you awful, awful man.
So there's a little bit of a fallout with Joe Biden. Turns out a lot of people were starting to ask questions. They had some comments. They had some concerns about Joe's uncle. You know, that World War II pilot who was shot down and then eaten by cannibals in New Guinea. So Joe Biden had an old man story, a tall tale to share with people, because we were shocked that his uncle was eaten by cannibals, and there was some fallout. Now, yes, we did talk about this on Friday's show, but there's been a little bit of fallout. But in case you missed it, first here, give it up for Joe Biden talking about this story. Hang on, because it gets funny.
Back when D-Day occurred, and on Sunday, the next day, my mother's four brothers all went down to the recruiting station and joined the military. Every one of them volunteered. And my uncle, they called him Ambrose, Brosey, they called him Bosey. My uncle Bosey was a hell of an athlete, they tell me, when he was a kid. And he became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones. He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real.
Now, look, when I upload this story, people did bring up the fact that, yes, Kit, there were cannibals in the Pacific, or either that there were stories of that being said in World War II. And I understand it, folks. All right. However, the story didn't happen. And there's going to be fallout. And look, I really enjoy it when the White House press secretary has to defend another one of Joe Biden's gaffes, because it gets hilarious. Just bear with us, folks. You're laughing at this. The next video is pure gold. It's outstanding. It's absolutely wonderful.
In that part of New Guinea. And then my son volunteered to go to Iraq for a year, and he came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. And they gave, like many of you, risked your lives, and you know people who gave their lives for the country. They're heroes. But one of the things that as I was doing that today, I was reminded of what my opponent said in Paris not too long ago. They asked him to go visit America.
This is an old man rambling. All right, he can't keep together a single thought. Hey, vote blue no matter who. This your dog? This your dog?
In grave sites. He said no, he wouldn't do it because they were all suckers and losers.
Now that story turned out to be called out in the question, because Trump is saying he never said that. Now, I want to pull up this video here. I couldn't stop laughing. I will do everything in my power to keep it serious. But every time I see the press secretary struggle with Biden's gaffes, especially with this one, I mean, this is hold on. A chef's kiss. For all you people watching, and yes, I said all you people watching, hit the like button, because this is going to stay around for forever. I think at this point, this is one of my favorite press meetings we've seen so far with this administration. The great scandal of Joe Biden and his uncle who was eaten by cannibals.
And I agree. Second Lieutenant Ambrose J. Finnegan was a war hero, but the Pentagon says, for unknown reasons, the plane was forced to ditch in the ocean. Both engines failed at low altitude. Why is President Biden saying he was shot down? There's no evidence of that. And why is he saying that his uncle was eaten by cannibals? That is a bad way to go.
It is a bad way to go, but it didn't happen. Now, the reaction for the press secretary. Oh, lady, the internet's going to miss you. You are pure gold, and we love you for it.
He lost his life. It's not, look, I'm not. We should not make jokes about this.
Oh, yes, we should. Oh, hey, audience, if you got a cannibal joke, if you got an old senile Joe Biden joke, have at it. All right? I will later dismiss or deny the claims. I never said that. Be like, what? When did my audience become so rude and mean? I want to see some clever jokes. I want to see some jokes, people, and we should make jokes because this is funny. It didn't happen, lady, and we are going to make jokes about it because that's not how his uncle died. If Trump said something like this, I know for a fact everybody in the Vote Blue, no matter who circle crowd, the circle jerk crowd would have been coming up with jokes up the wazoo. Don't give me that.
That is a bad way to go.
He lost his life. It's not. Look, I'm not. We should not make jokes about this.
Yes,
President Biden said that his uncle was eaten by cannibals.
You're
Yeah, he did. Watch her do some mental gymnastics. This is great.
should not make jokes about
It's
this.
not.
Wait.
President Biden said that his uncle was eaten by cannibals.
Your last line is it's for a laugh. It's for a funny statement, and he takes this very seriously. His uncle, who served and protected this country, lost his life serving, and that should matter. You have a president that lifts up our U.S. troops, our American veterans, every day.
Oh, this is classic. Oh, let me deflect. Hey, the president cares about veterans, okay? You're not acknowledging the fact that he lied about his uncle being eaten by cannibals, lady. Did it or did it not happen? It was a lie, okay? Now, obviously the plane crashing in the ocean and the pilots losing their lives, that is horrific, okay? Horrible way to go. But if you are the leader of the free world and you're saying instead of engine failure, it got shot out of the sky. Oh, light went out. That could be my FBI handlers coming after me. Hang on. There we go. Now there's light. Now see, we're back again. Okay, so let's say plane gets shot out of the sky, right? And then, oh no, plane crashes. And then come the cannibals. And they eat them. Come on. Get out of here with this BS. Of course people are going to be laughing and making jokes. And again, Democrats wonder, why are people saying that Joe Biden is a liar or senile? Look at how he's acting. This isn't just one example. There is a treasure trove of videos out there of him misremembering things or either that making up stories that didn't happen. He didn't meet Nelson Mandela in jail. Okay? He didn't walk with Dr. King. He wasn't this civil rights fighter. He was against the civil rights movement. He was against busing. He was against desegregation. He was against a woman's right to choose. The bastard wrote the crime bill. Democrats, liberals, I want to take you seriously sometimes, but you keep on flip-flopping and twisting yourselves into pretzels to where no one can look at you and respect you. Just rewind this again, okay? Because I do want to make jokes.
He lost his life. It's not. Look, I'm not. We should not make jokes about
It's
this.
not.
Wait.
President Biden said that his uncle was eaten by cannibals.
Your last line is it's for a laugh. It's for a funny statement, and he takes this very seriously. His uncle, who served and protected this country, lost his life serving, and that should matter. You have a president that lifts up our U.S. troops, our American veterans, every day, who thinks about them, who actually thinks they're all heroes, and they are. And you have a former president who disrespects that, who doesn't honor that. Said it as
that is being called into question because he's saying he didn't say that. And not defending Trump, but corporate media has spewed many lies about him too. All right. Now, Trump has done his fair share of shady stuff. But come on, let's be consistent here, folks. Let's be very consistent here. Did he say that?
president, suckers or losers. That's what he said.
Now, hold on. Papua New Guinea's prime minister has downplayed the U.S. president's comments on his uncle's presumed death in the country. So, hold on. New Guinea wanted to add in. U.S. President Joe Biden's recent remarks, in which he implied that his uncle was eaten by cannibals in Papua New Guinea during World War II, were uncalled for, the Prime Minister of the Southwest Pacific nation has said. Last Wednesday, Biden recounted a story of his uncle, his mother's brother, who was recorded by the U.S. military as missing in action off New Guinea after a plane he was on crashed in the Pacific Ocean, leaving only one survivor. According to the president, his uncle's plane was shut down and his body was never found because there were a lot of cannibals, for real, in that part of New Guinea. Sometimes you have loose moments, the Prime Minister, James Murray, said in an interview on Sunday, reacting to Biden's remarks. He added that he has met with the U.S. leader on 4 different occasions and said he's always had warm regards for Papua New Guinea and never mentioned cannibalism. Probably it's more of the fact like Biden was just like the senile old man. Like even the Prime Minister of New Guinea gets it, right? He gets it. It's like, okay, Joe Biden, he needs to take his nappy nap, because Joe Biden's tired. He's a little sleepy. You know? Sometimes you have loose moments. President Biden's remark may have been a slip of the tongue. However, my country does not deserve to be labeled as such. New Guinea was dragged into World War II, which was not its fight, the Prime Minister said. He urged Washington to help clean up the PNG and the Solomon Islands, which were littered with the remains of World War II, including human remains, plane wrecks, shipwrecks, tunnels, and bombs, which still pose a threat to the people who live there. If this is done, then perhaps the truth about the missing servicemen, like Joe Biden's uncle, can be put to rest, he suggested. The U.S. is vying for influence in New Guinea as it competes with China in the region. Last year, Washington, D.C. signed a defense cooperation agreement with the island nation. Beijing reached a similar deal with the neighboring Solomon Islands. So there you go. So I want to pull this up here because corporate media did have a field day. This was funny, and I found this clip from Fox News. It's quite hilarious.
Are they just eating this up at the White House press room?
Hey, keep it family freaking friendly.
Jesse, it is not funny.
So sorry.
I'm sorry. It is a bad way to go.
You're right.
But,
I'm sorry.
The other day, Wednesday, I'm on the 4th floor of the Union Steelworkers headquarters in Pittsburgh, and President Biden's going through all of his normal lines that he says at these things. Oh, unions built the middle class, and we're going to challenge China and add new tariffs. That's great. And then he gets to the end, and he's talking about Uncle Bozy, a new character. And I try to listen to everything that Joe Biden says.
Yeah.
Uncle Bozy is a new character for the re-election. But he says this thing about how they never found his body because he crash landed in an area that there were a lot of cannibals. And the union guys were kind of looking around like, that is a crazy story. Wow.
Yeah, wow, Joe. Thanks for telling that crazy story. Also, Popeye the Sailor wrote, no. Give me some of that Biden leg.
But it does not seem like it is true. And I'm really surprised. When I asked in the press room today, people were laughing about it. But again, not a joke. That would be a terrible way to die.
Yeah, the worst.
But I assumed that they were going to say something like, well, Joe Biden was told this when he was a little kid. It's part of Biden.
Now, see, here's the thing. When you're told things as a little kid, fine. You take them at face value, right? But the older you get, you got to look into stuff. You got to look into history, okay? That's what you have to do. You have to look into it.
Family lore. He thought it was true. We checked with the Pentagon. Not true. But instead, they did not say that. And because the Uncle Bozy storyline is part of this thing that Trump likes to talk a lot about, this Atlantic article from
Silver Surfer. This is a direct challenge to the vegans and to the vegetarians. Silver Surfer says, meat's back on the menu, boys. We're not eating zip bugs.
From 2020, John Kelly says that he heard Trump calling American war dead from World War II suckers and losers. Biden tells that story all the time. So it is entirely possible that we will hear this story again and again and again as we go.
You know, you're right about the characters. He'll introduce a corn pop or black Somali or chopped Somali. I forget which one it is. And these will become reoccurring characters.
Are you kidding me? Joe Biden is a screenwriter that could save Hollywood. The Adventure of Corn Pop and Friends. Written and directed and produced by Joe Biden. Corn Pop saves Uncle Joe. Corn Pop saves America. The shocking trilogy concludes.
In the theme of Joe Biden's life. You can't introduce Uncle Bozy eaten by cannibals like 10 minutes before this election's about to start. I mean, do you think that he got this from the Michael Rockefeller legend? Because this just doesn't come out of nowhere.
If I had to guess, somebody. So we're in Scranton to start the day on Wednesday, and he's at the War Memorial. He sees Uncle Ambrose Finnegan's name etched into the War Memorial, and I'm sure a lot of memories from his whole childhood start coming back. Somebody told him at some point that this happened. I don't know if it was meant as a joke. I don't know if that is just what they came up with to tell the kids when their uncle, a war hero, passed away, but it was just right there. And he said it twice on Wednesday.
Okay.
And now it's made its way all the way to Papua New Guinea, where the quote is a political science professor told the Daily Mail, cannibalism is very specific. They wouldn't just eat any white men that fell from the...
Yeah, hey, Joe Biden, you might be proud of your uncle, but when the cannibals saw that body, they sniffed him like, hey, this is a Biden. I don't want to put this in my belly. But it is funny to laugh at, and we should be making jokes about it. Seriously, vote blue no matter who. This is your dog. This is your fighter. Okay.
Sky.
You gotta recall the ambassador after a diplomatic breach such as that. Please do me a favor, though. Ducey, you gotta ask the president about Uncle Bozy. I know you don't have a lot of time and you never get a lot of opportunities, but I don't care.
Went to the Marine One departure today. I have what the Defense POW MIA accounting agency said, and I had his comment. I was ready to ask him why he thinks that this is the case.
Don't let this go.
We will try.
Ducey, do not let this go. I don't care.
Yeah, actually, hold on. No, Ducey. I was going to call him Juicy, or I'm going to call him Douche. Douchey Juicy, right? Hey, listen, buddy. You go out there and you do that hard-hitting news. You ask Joe Biden about his uncle.
If something happens with Iran, Ukraine, Russia, you got to get this in at some point. Do it for us. Do it for Uncle Bozy. It's all right. It's about...
The rest of the press corps may move on.
Respect.
We will not.
We will not. We will never move on. We will never forget Uncle Bozy. Ducey, have a great weekend.
Pure joy and pure gold. I knew this election would be funny. I knew this election would be hilarious. I just wasn't expecting all of this, okay? Now, as I've said before, especially when it comes down to talking about the Democrats or Joe Biden, we here at Hard Lens Media, we're going to be covering the DNC convention. If I do see the president, I give this my vow to you. If it does happen, if this does happen, I will ask him about his uncle, the cannibal story, what happened. I promise you. I will try my best. I probably will not succeed. I probably won't. But I will do everything in my power to make it happen. I promise you this, the people. And as for a final word for this segment, you know what? I'm going to hand it to Joe Biden himself. Joe, take it away, buddy.
I never thought I'd see a time when I'm going through a neighborhood or a rural town in the West or something and see big signs that have a Trump sign in the middle that says F Biden, and having a little kid standing with his middle finger, 7 years old, 8 years old. Well, I promise it happens all the time.
Now, that's true. That has to be true. Give it up for Pennsylvania. What happened again, Joe? What happened again?
Signs that have a Trump sign in the middle that says F Biden, and having a little kid standing with his middle finger, 7 years old, 8 years old. Well, I promise it happens all the time.
Okay. All right, Joe. Hey, the cannibal story is funny. It's funny because it's funny. And that's all we got to say about it.